So PNC Bank has announced more bank closures, and folks, I will be bringing you more insider intel from an actual PNC Bank insider with shocking and unbelievable updates about future changes to the business and their banking practices that will be rolled out very soon. The bottom line is this, folks. This is evidence that the banks are taking money away from the low income and out of certain neighborhoods. This is in preparation for the transition into the future of social credit. Now, if you haven't been paying attention to the news, well, stay tuned because I'm going to fill you guys in on what is happening and what's going on. And more importantly, if you want to know what I'm going to do to make sure my family doesn't get wiped out by this new banking trend and continue to prepare to have the best possible chance of survival, well, stick around until the end of the video and I will be sure to share with you my plan. All right. Now, number one question that everyone is going to be asking at this moment is my money safe in the banks? Well, that's a good question. Is my money safer in a credit union, or is it safe at all in a credit union? And the simple fact of the matter is that there is an idea, there's a thought, there's a theory, there's a perception that the banks are safe places to keep your money for some. For others, they know that this is not necessarily true. However, safety is relative. It is all dependent upon, let's just say, for instance, is my car safe? Well, it's safe as long as you don't get into an accident. Now, if you get into an accident, then you'll be told and realize how safe or unsafe your car, your vehicle, your truck was. Is my home safe? Well, sure, it is, as long as there's no fire, there's no burglaries, there's no break-ins, there's no home invasions. Until those things happen, that is when you'll see how safe and or unsafe these things are. Is the bank safe? Sure, in theory, until there's a big problem, until there's a bank collapse, until banks go bankrupt, until their Ponzi scheme collapses and is wiped out. And then you will see how safe the banks are. Sure, there's FDIC, there's NCUA, there's these protections in place that ensure your deposits up to $250,000 depending. But that is a conversation and a topic for another day. Should you run to the banks and take all your money out? Now, folks, Blackrock, get this. I got to show you this. Blackrock releasing a shocking announcement here that Blackrock, the world's largest asset manager, says central banks are deliberately causing recessions and warns of a downturn. Warns of a downturn, folks. Blackrock themselves. Now, we all know the roles that Blackrock plays in this current social transition, but even them, they are saying and warning of what is to come. It may be a clear sign and indication that you need to get your shit together. Okay. Now, should you run to the banks and take your money out? I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what I'm doing, but I can't tell you what to do. And, odds are, crazy part about it is most folks don't have any money in the banks as it is. And that's part of the problem. That's part of this transition. This is part of the reset that is underway that many folks aren't even aware of what's really going on. BlackRock's team of strategists write in their 2023 Global Outlook, recession is foretold as central banks race to try to tame inflation. What does that mean? And they said, in fact, the strategists believe that central banks are, brace yourself for this one, folks. Pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. I'm not making this up. This is pulled straight from this article that I'm reading to you. And it says that they said, in fact, the strategists believe that central banks, this is from BlackRock's strategists, they believe that central banks are deliberately causing recessions by over-tightening policy in an effort to bring price levels under control. Deliberately causing. In the past, when the economy entered a downturn, the Fed typically stepped in to help, but due to the cause of this projected recession, BlackRock says we can't count on the central bank. Central bankers won't ride to the rescue when growth slows in the new regime, contrary to what investors have come to expect. This is word for word, verbatim from this article, folks. If that's not a clear sign to you as far as what is happening, what's going on behind the scenes, then I don't know what is. Perhaps maybe let's add to this. Let's add to this so that we can connect the dots and paint a bigger picture so that everyone can clearly see what's happening. Bank closures have doubled since the pandemic. Bank closures have doubled since the pandemic. Banking and predatory lending widen social inequality. Social inequality, folks. This is their plan. This is their strategy. This has been going on for years and decades, centuries even. But it is becoming more clear and more apparent today. And a lot of folks are at risk. They don't even know it. Some do and are wondering, what can I do? How can I protect myself and protect my family, protect my money, my finances, my income, my savings, my retirement, my assets? How do I get assets? Folks, there's a lot to cover here. So if any of these are questions that you are asking, feel free to comment down below. Let me know so I can gauge the interest on which direction to go next on future videos. So it says that there are more than 1,600 banking deserts in the U.S. The lack of financial services is hitting certain demographics hardest. There will continue to be an increase, a growth of banking deserts in the country as these banks close their doors, shut down, and take their money elsewhere. They're taking it away from certain demographics. They're taking it away from certain communities. They're taking it away from certain businesses. The banks are taking their money and they're moving it elsewhere. This is that shell game, okay? And people, let's see here. It says that there are almost 6 million households without a bank account. If that doesn't spell disaster and catastrophe, I don't know what does, especially when you add in conjunction with that banks continuously closing in these areas, in these neighborhoods, while companies like Blackrock are stating that the new regime is intentionally creating this collapse. People are experiencing what some would define as redline, and I don't doubt it. And in these areas, these deserts, particularly in the Mississippi Delta and towns like Coffeyville, you'll find more payday loan lenders and cash advance facilities than you would a Starbucks. Okay, that says a lot. It is the banks versus the people. Always has been. And more importantly, it is the federal government versus the people. If you think the banks are the banks, no, the banks are the federal government. And they will determine who will have access to capital and who will not, who will survive and who will perish. Banks don't collapse by accident, folks, okay? So the question that you've been waiting to hear the answer to is, what am I going to do to make sure my family doesn't get wiped out by this new banking trend and prepare to have the best chance of survival? Well, allow me to share with you my plan, okay? It's very simple, very easy. First, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. All right, so there are 3 assets: consumer staples, wine, and real estate. All right. Now, these are investor-focused, recession-proof like sectors for protecting and building wealth. This is very important. Now, again, if you guys need more of a breakdown and don't quite understand it, the links are in the description. Contact me and we can go over this and I can share with you what I've been sharing with so many other people that have helped them get on track to weather these storms and come out ahead and greater than and much more successful and improved financial levels, increased net worth, eliminated, zero debt, the works after it's all said and done. Now, since 2005, Sotheby's Fine Wine Index has gone up 316%. Okay. And there is one particular type of real estate that is particularly stable, and it has outperformed the S&P 500 over a 25-year period. Additionally, consumer staples are essential products that everybody needs regardless of how the economy is doing or what the federal funds rates are. Folks, come on now. Very, very simple and easy stuff. Now, how do we get into it? How do we get involved with it? How do we use this to protect our money? How do we use this to protect our wealth? It's not just gold and silver, folks. And how do we use this to increase our income, increase our wealth, generate cash flow producing assets, and pull ourselves away from being so tied into these banks and this government that is ultimately going to control who has what, who has access to capital, who will have money, who will have a bank in their neighborhood or in their nearby vicinity, who will have access to lending and funding and credit and capital. Or we could do it ourselves, be our own banks, and not have to rely on this system that is more than likely, especially according to what Blackrock has suggested, planning a collapse under this regime. Now, as we move towards this social transition, this social credit. And folks, if you thought regular credit, FICO score, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian wasn't working out for you, well, shoot, wait till we get to the social credit score, because there's no real metrics on that. So I have provided loads and loads of more information for anybody interested, and you can see it all for free. Links in the description. Just click the link in the description. I'll put a link down there. It just says free information for anybody who wants it. Coming up next, folks, pay attention. We've got, should the railroad workers just quit their jobs? Stop paying union dues. I've received comments that side with the union railway freight workers and think that they should go find another job somewhere else and improve their quality of life and make more money doing something else besides giving their lives to these railroad tycoons that don't care about them and basically treat them like slaves rather than employees. With one comment referring to a railroad worker and union employees as sheep led by the Dems that continue to prove they don't care about them. And remember, folks, I have provided loads more information for anyone interested in quitting their job, making more money, saving more money, building investments for beginners, and so much more. And you can see it all for free by clicking the link in the description. Now is the time to take control of your life, or else someone else will. If you don't master the change, then the change will inevitably master you. Until next time, take care.